The gospel begins today with these Greeks coming to the Passover, coming to see Jesus. And they asked the apostles if they could see Jesus. See being the operative word. Now, we have to understand in Scripture who Jesus is talking to. And in the gospel, Jesus is talking to the Greeks. Why are they wanting to talk to him? Well, a lot of people back then were wanting to see Jesus, to see him perform some miracle. But Jesus begins today by saying that my hour has come. It's time to show you everything. The people at that time had only seen a part of Jesus. They hadn't seen the whole picture. Do we see the whole picture in our life? Are we here just for some miracle or some wish that we want fulfilled in our life? Or do we see the whole picture? Jesus is living, and then he's about to show his suffering and dying, and then his rising. At this point, people only understood living and dying. But Jesus was to reveal to them that it is in dying that we rise. A new piece to the puzzle. And it is now time to show them. He has entered into Jerusalem in this gospel already. And now comes Holy Thursday, his entrance into the Passion. And he tells them so eloquently, unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains just a grain of wheat. But if it dies, it produces much fruit. What is it about looking for those miracles? For those Greeks. And for us, I think those Greeks came looking to see if there was some magical way to avoid suffering and dying. But Jesus shows us the pattern. That it is living, dying, and rising. Not just for him, but for all of us. Jesus is the paradigm, or as one spiritual writer put it, the hologram of our life. We all live, we all must die, and our hope that we all rise. There's some thought that some magical thinking that if we just have enough faith, then bad things won't happen to us, right? We hear that from so-called faithful people. They say, well, if you just would have had enough faith, that wouldn't have happened to you. You didn't pray hard enough. You know, if Jesus just had enough faith, he wouldn't have died on the cross. Jesus' faith is not about finding a way to avoid life. Faith is about living through life, living through pain, living through suffering, living through dying, and in the end, rising. Isn't it? A challenge in our life. If we are here to worship Jesus, our life is about living, dying, and rising. Living with the pain. As Jesus shows us to forgive the pain. Up until this point of history, the pattern was pain transmits pain. One person suffers and in turn chooses to cause other people to suffer because they are suffering. Notice what happened this past week. This kid shooting up the spas. Pain transmits pain. Jesus showed us another way. He showed us to instead forgive the pain, to learn from the pain, and to turn to God, to rely on God, and let God transform that pain. Yet it's so important, first of all, that we forgive that pain, isn't it? Like Jesus did on the cross. Sometimes it's just life in itself. There's just natural pain. Forgive that pain. Forgive the disaster that happened to us. Forgive the disease. Forgive the pain that people has caused us as we see Jesus on the cross. Forgive that pain. And to forgive that pain, the good news that we've caused ourselves. Forgive all three of these things. When we do that, it allows us to learn from the pain, the suffering. We have so much to learn, especially compassion towards others. And to learn to rely on God. So much of our pain is self-inflicted. Isn't it? We hurt ourselves more. We receive pain, and our reaction is to hurt others and to hurt ourselves more, as opposed to forgive. And to rely on God to see how He might transform that pain. When I was a kid, I knew this girl. Her name was Lori. And Lori, as a kid, found out that she had muscular dystrophy. And she learned to let go of the bitterness, to accept it, to carry on. I would say to forgive what had happened to her. And in the process, She learned to rely on God. And she did that by relying on people that would help her. And though she no longer could walk, the people became her legs. God transformed the situation and raised her up. Let these people literally raise her, be her legs, so that she could get around. The picture is not just for Jesus. Jesus is showing us the way of faith, the way, the truth, and the life. This is the life, that we may not only worship Jesus, but live in Jesus.